It's January 15th, 2022. I'm sorry, 2023. I'm sitting here. We celebrated my youngest son's birthday last night. I saw the boys, or my men. My men came over. Um, while Alexander was here, I showed him the reference to Petticoat Junction, Season 1, Episode 5, in his numerical closet. They were watching football. It was San Francisco and Seahawks. On came this woman with this gigantic chain that was like this thick around her neck with a big pendant. I said, I don't wear such chains. Neither do you. So we're watching this football. I said, but Brady is inside this, whatever. He would know what that meant. And so I tried to teach Alexander last night about astrophysics. I held his hand and I said to Benjamin, I asked Benjamin to listen to what I was explaining, which Benjamin just shut me down completely, wouldn't even listen. So I said, Alexander, I said, you're smart enough. I was like, let's just run through this quickly for the two of us. I said, you saw the Petticoat Junction. There's something about a Billy Joe, a Bobby Joe, and a Betty Joe. There's this reference over here as the railroaders right before, like it was our ancestors before I arrived in this area. It's what they've left for us as symbolic gestures. I said, in a vacuum of space and time, I can physically hold your hand and touch you. I can physically touch your brother Benjamin on the side of me. I reminded Benjamin, I was like, what is the clock that you're named after, Benjamin? And he said, Big Ben in London. I said, great. Okay, so now you know. And I said, Alexander, you and I are an anatomical clock, a biological clock. We have exactness. I was like, and this football reference. I was like, do you know how many people are on the football team on each side? And he said, no. He says, I don't know, Mom. He goes, I think anywhere between like 9 and 12. And I'm like, it's 11. I was like, it's 11 on either side. Does that make sense to you? And he said, actually it does. I was like, good. That's what you need to know. So now this morning I get up and the Treasury put on a commercial for this double eagle in American, it's called Double Eagle. It's in a silver color. Buchanan put it out, and she's operating under a seal that has the symbolic gesture of 1 and then 7, 8, just for Mercury timing, and then a 9. So I'm looking at this silver dollar commercial. It's an American double eagle that they came out with. I know that they don't nationally mint something unless it's extremely important. I know this morning also they aired an episode of Thunderbirds, for which there was a grandmother on a bridge with something called Alan, Alan, and there was a bomb on this bridge, and they had to rescue the old lady and this Alan, and then it shows the collapse of this bridge. This theoretical, it's a marionette version of it. They reference something called Gomez, Gomez, and then there's this international rescue, the IR, and they have reference to TB1 or TBI. And I'm going to show a piece of that. And then today on the regular morning news, they regressed back to the announcement from 1999. I played last night while Ben was here with his girlfriend, Savage Garden. The I Knew I Loved You Before I Met You. Um, Again, it wasn't genetically, he's not wearing the epidermis for me that should have been, but there's a lot of things going on cosmologically. So he arrived in 1999, and when the new year turned over in New York, they have this symbolic gesture where they drop the ball every year. I don't know if that's a money making schematic here as a reference, but it's really frightening. I don't know if International Rescue picked up on the nuance. It's usually Swarovski crystal. I know that's an Austrian reference. Um, so anyhow, so I'm watching this. And so then they have the part on about 1999 and how everybody was frightened of the clock. Yes, well, when you force the woman who's going to have the double eagle at some point in her life frame to be in some penalty flag with a city that keeps dropping the ball every year. I mean, how does International Rescue ever explain to correct the aerodynamics? So here we are at Human References.
As history is being made, National Collectors Mint and the Cook Islands announced the limited public release of their first 2023 Silver Double Eagle $2 coins. Angela Buchanan.
So it's a $2 coin. And there's the seal for 1789.
Buchanan, the 37th Treasurer of the United States, was instrumental in supporting the creation of the United States Silver Eagle Bullion Program. Coins beloved by investors and collectors alike. But Treasurer Buchanan dreamed of more. She envisioned a silver double eagle $2 coin. Now, inspired and endorsed by Treasurer Buchanan, comes
Again, somewhere between the Hillbillies' truth, the Beverly Hillbillies' truth, the Oompa Loompas at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, their version of the truth, and then International Rescue and what they got going on that most of us have no idea at any given moment. Somewhere between all of that, Special Child arrived. And it looks like Sloppy Joe's. It just does. It doesn't look neat and tidy. And I don't know how to get the IR with TBI and like expects things to be the correct way the first time because they don't like having to explain things. There's more dangerous whatever going on between aerodynamics that has to be addressed. So here we are. There is no social norm on this. There is no idealistic profile of what a marriage is or is not, what it symbolizes, what the repercussions are going to be. None of that has been decided yet. It's just construct of a way of explaining. It's a piece of paper. It's on file with the state. It's the two problems that were attached via destiny of some sort, which had no business dilating time and causing I needed mercury speed. I did not need 44 years of like heartache and headache, along with other things that go on in cascading results.
the release of the new .999 pure silver $2 double eagle. meticulously struck with the highly prized frosted relief and the mirror-like backgrounds of brilliant silver proofs. Each of these Cook Islands circulating legal tender coins is purer than any U.S. silver dollar ever to circulate. It boasts 2 eagles in flight on the obverse, with the words American Double Eagle. The reverse features the iconic Liberty Bell, the Cook Island imprimatur, and the important $2 denomination. Now you can...
By the way, we sat in front of the TV last night when we had this conversation, so I know the back end of whatever and whatever, caught the whole glimpse of the in the moment in the living room, which does not really have much living going on in it. So now the episode of Thunderbirds was this move and you're dead. It's S1E20, and it's Sunday, January 15th, 2023.
Okay, let's clear the bridge. It's going up at any moment. Keep on the road, you jerk. Okay.
Yeah, I don't, is this like supposed to be like in my, I was saying to the boys last night, I was like, no, it's like that 40s show. I'm that 70s show. And Ben, you're that 90s show. So in that context, in my that 70s show, there was a study hall with Healy. Was this like, and again, they just put up a commercial for Brady Bunch. I got the Godmother Carol. So I don't really know whatever on that. But like, was this Healy's study hall reference where someone was trying to drive and control the future and sully me somehow? Because like, I really wasn't interested in the whole damn thing. But locked into Cold Spring Harbor and Lloyd Harbor the way that it was, I don't know, was it a friendly help, an attempt at IR rescue? Was it to further like harm? How would I know?
Can't get used to this geared steering. Hey, what was that?
And again, in that moment, I'm just showing up in a locked school where there's supposed to be whatever. I'm waiting for IR and this rescue ladder. And then these 2 older gentlemen show up in the class and whatever on that. I mean, it's uh is it that 40s show in some competition back at whatever they did for a living, the chains that they wore and the puppet strings that they wore? Again, I thought IR could handle that. I don't know why that 70s show went so off, and it was like being body checked by the older kids from that 40s show and maybe that 50s or 60s show. I have no idea. But by 78, I mean, it was one little girl that needed IR and a rescue ladder to get to the right couple because there was a very special child being brought into the world. And trapping in some other storyline for some sports or gambling when aerodynamics are being pulled off seems like a really dumb alternative.
Tracy, the old lady must have escaped. Okay, keep your friend down. We gotta lose this guy. We gotta stop. He's telling us to stop.
is that supposed to symbolize my trip down to Florida? That the call on the blue phone that then gave me the invitation down to Florida, and then barely remembering that trip. Is that like what the steering wheel reference was about? Because it would have been really nice if that could have come to fruition the correct way and the crazy donkey not ensue with the problem with the 1976 and the Jason. Again, it was not supposed to ever happen that way. Again, what hillbillies were involved? What set of Oompa Loompas are you talking to? It really adds up and matters at IR.
They're going crazy. They're going to crash.
Base from Thunderbird 2. Leaving danger zone. Mission successfully completed.
Now, what is this, like Ken and Barbie and their Malibu like hideaway? Again, California being whatever it is, it just looks like the reference here. Now, CBS this morning, news at 7 a.m. This is the channel reference. This was where they mentioned, because again, even I played this song purposely for my son last night in front of his girlfriend. And I said to him, I said, back when you were born, TV was not 24 hours. There's up at, like, when I would have to get up and you'd be hungry in the middle of the night, I was like, I would sit in the rocking chair and it would have a green screen just for lighting. I was like, it would be infomercials or whatever. So I put on mute, and I would sing you this song over and over and over again, whatever was on the radio. And I would just like stare at him. So I played the song last night. And he was like, oh, yeah, I don't remember that. I go, I know you don't remember that, but I do. And so this morning it comes on another piece that he doesn't remember because he was only 3 months old when New Year's happened. The 1999 crisis into 2000, ringing in the millennia with this Y2K problem, which in New York, and if you know anything about textiles and merchantry, is a zipper reference.
Today, we'll take it back to 1999, the last year of the 20th century. While some were looking forward to what the new millennium would bring, others were panicking. There were...
I already had this fake movie reference wedding. I had been scarred on my midriff and lower extremities. I was absolutely miserable with the crazy donkey and what it's already delivered, but trying to make in that moment, try to be grateful for the gift and miracle of life in whatever I was going to have a lifelong journey with this new arrival, and I had to get out of my stuff and focus only on him and figure out a way to like not have to spend any more time than necessary with the disgusting, foul, crazy donkey, and just focus on the child.
Fears the turn of the century would derail the world's computer systems, from the government to airlines and even local businesses. I'm sure many of you remember it. CBS 2 was there for all of it. Dick Brennan is taking a look back at Y2K. You can watch it on our streaming channel, CBS News New York, this afternoon at 1:30. Coming up here at 7:10, safety on the football field.
Now, here's a human interpretation. There's all these asylum seekers that keep entering New York. I say legally, whatever. Because I didn't send an invitation out to them. I don't know who's just letting them arrive. But somebody's feeding them, like feral stray cats. Somebody's affording this. Somehow they're billing the city and providing housing and food in something called a ROW NYC, ROWNYC. And the people receiving the food, I mean, again, in dissidence being whatever it is, it sounds like being ungrateful. However, on the other hand, the service being provided, like the food is not really fully cooked. It's causing gastrointestinal issues for the people who need the nutrition and are relying on the kindness of strangers and the charity. So again, this struggle goes on. I know I'm not the only one plagued with it, but yet I am the one who has the special anatomical feature and biological clock feature of importance. So at apiary and topiary, trying to explain my position and then having Oompa Loompas and hillbillies with alternating agendas and gangs and mafias and mobs and all sorts of ridiculousness. And IR, like, just has no patience, it would seem. Here we are.
And now to a News 4 exclusive. Controversy after loads of food meant for those migrant families was thrown into trash.
Now it's Channel 4. Lately, this has some symbolic reference to a T, which has some archaeological dig somewhere. I don't know if it's the AL or the AE, but or the EA. But there's that, and they're speaking a lot of Spanish. Like, I mean, it's, in fact, it's much. But I think, I don't know, again, with NBC in British Columbia.
Now, the asylum seekers are sharing their side of the story, explaining why they're not eating the food that's been given to them. News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo has that story.
Raw, cold, and expired. That's how refugees living here at the Row Hotel describe the food
Again.
they're being served by the city. Residents here point to pasta covered in grease and meatballs still frozen in the middle. They're pushing back today after shelter staff told the New York Post they were wasting tax dollars, refusing to eat the free meals here. This mom of two says sometimes the food smells bad, rotten, and every time the children eat the food like that, they get food poisoning. But Mayor Adams implies the migrants are just being picky.
People may have a different cultural taste for certain foods. We can't do that. We can only provide nutrition food for people.
The mayor and his hospital boss overseeing the Row Hotel, which has become home to hundreds of Latin American migrants, insist there's nothing wrong with the food here.
When you walk into any of our facilities, you can't miss the food.
But this letter last month from one of the city's own hospitals asks the Row Hotel to transfer a family out because of...
I have a version of this at an ROE as opposed to an ROW in the Hotel California. I'm just saying. The food that this earth in New York provided on a crazy donkey was horrific from the start. I said I didn't want to eat it. I said I didn't want to be part of it. I said I want better. I deserve better. And I was introduced to better. Talk about a power trip. I said to my son last night, I go, that 90s show. I'm like, what is it? If I say power trip to you, what does that mean to you? Like, what do your people say it means? And he's like, oh, that's like an LSD thing. Like you take a power trip. And I'm like, that is not what it means when like there's a power nap, which is what I mean, like, again, I have power naps and power trips, but I was like, that's what it means to you. I was like, and then I had to reference Alexander. I was like, Alexander, what does it mean to you and your people? And he's like, we don't talk about it. I don't know. He's like, I really, and I'm like, uh-huh. And then Ben turns to me, he goes, what does it mean to you? And I go, well, it certainly doesn't involve LSD, I'll tell you that much. I was like, it's like you go somewhere and like you meet powerful people. It's a power trip. And he's like, yeah, no, that's not what. He's like, no, it involves LSD where, again. And so I'm like, again, here we are with the different generational, the change of the guards, the Oompa Loompas being one story. There's tribes of all, then you got Providence mixed in there. It's a real confusing mess.
Because of parent concerns, their children lost weight due to limited food resources. This mother of three says it's not a case of what my children like or don't like. If the food was edible, I would make them eat it. In recent months, the city has had to scramble to house thousands of migrants bust from the border in a
Now here's the beginning of Thunderbirds.
This war is unrecognized, unheralded. Its battlefields can be anywhere. Anywhere the invader has carved out a stronghold. David Vincent's war will have no ending until the invader is driven back to his own world. Or until he has made David Vincent's world his own.
David Vincent. I'm just curious, where's Victor? It says the invaders. That's the end of some episode on this thing called Me TV, and then it goes into Thunderbirds.
JLP, Middletown, New Jersey. Me TV is memorable entertainment television.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
And this has the Tracys involved. Traces. There's a T in front of that race. Uh-huh. Just so Thor, god of love and thunder, gets, interestingly enough, yesterday I said to Antonio, I said, what would you like for your birthday theme? And he said Star Wars. I said, all right. And if they're sold out of Star Wars, because again, it's very popular, I said, what would your superhero preference be? And he said Thor. It says Vid E-Color. Filmed in VIDE color. then it says Super Mario Nation. Now, what's interesting on the Nintendo, when electronics were being promoted in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, in where I was, in the series of rooms I was kept within, they had Super Mario Nintendo came out. I had no access to Thunderbirds or whatever this is. I don't know if this is one of those claymations or puppet marionette things that they put together for special IR purpose. Never seen it before. It's brand new to me. And this one is, I think, I have to go back and look, but I think it's E20.
All aboard the MeTV Sunday Celebrity Cruise.
Did you tell me any of the stars will be sailing with us?
You might see the Brady's.
Mike, it's your day to watch the kids.
Relax, Carol. But
Mike and Carol, that's Brady Bunch. That's the heads of the Brady Bunch. And then they had something the other day they showed about the Cleavers. You pronounce Cleaver clever. I mean, how's the spelling? Is it the same? Between gossip and ghost spell, I'm not sure. Now looking for signs. Live with Kelly and Ryan, S1E20 on Wednesday, 1/11/2023. They had an Operation ABC7, clean up on aisle 7 at the supermarket. And they have this going on, and then it leads into this aerobic workout for core strength. And it has the ME reference on it. And so this is new, a new airing, because the Thunderbirds looks like, I don't have a date on it, but it's being aired, so I can actually see it in the year 2023.
February 21st at 7. Sponsored by these proud partners.
The Best Me 23. Now that just so happens on Big Ben's clock to match up like just perfect with the Y2K crowd, where it's progressively and steadily gotten worse in New York. I don't know what happened to IR. There's some real serious issues as far as my person goes. And I don't really know where that ladder rescue is.
Those are cool.
Aren't those fun?
Puffer sweatpants?
Yeah, they're puffy and they make me look skinnier because this is puffy.
And design a t-shirt. All right, he's coached some of the most accomplished athletes and has more than 15 million followers across all of social media platforms. Please welcome physical therapist and strength coach Jeff Cavaliere. Good to have you back, buddy. Still looking good. Nice and lean.
Yeah, no, it's like looking in a mirror, those arms.
Well, it's kind of like mine, except they're softer.
So what are we going to focus on today?
Tell us. So obviously this time of year, a lot of people are going back to the gym, right? But they're maybe doing it a little bit unprepared. So they have the ambition, but they don't have the body to put them in position to succeed. So what I think we need to do is look at the causes of what can happen when you're not ready. A lot of times we see injury.
How cavalier.
Muscle strains, ligament.
Are those the most common?
Yeah, for sure. And of all the areas, we definitely see the back as kind of a big area. And we're not just talking about the low back, but upper back as well. We have areas that we will, become susceptible if we're not ready. So what we need to do, though, is look at necessarily the cause of what the issue is. Because the back is like a symphony of muscles, like 40 muscles in the back. So it's not usually just the back that is the problem. What happens is something below that is, betraying the back.
Okay.
And in this case, it's the glutes. So what we need to do is we need to work on the glutes.
Well, let's work on our glutes.
Right.
So, today is the day.
Right here and back here.
Is this my glute?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we work the glutes, it's not just about lifting up into the movement, but then.
I'm glad you're here today to see this.
Yes.
So this was on this week on Channel 7. I greatly appreciated it. It was at least a direction for some other things while I'm on the floor trying to figure out how to whatever. This was helpful in an itemized like get to the point kind of a thing. Let me pull up the episode for that Thunderbirds. Let me get the exact number ID on that. So it's S1E20. It aired here Sunday, January 15th, 2022. Oh, the original air date was 2/9/1966. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It is Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.